Hello, I'm Forrester and welcome to my channel. In this video I'll be reviewing the Star Citizen ship, the MISC Prospector. Star Citizen is currently in public alpha test with the Prospector as one of the flyable ships. As the Star Citizen ship modules are an experience in themselves, particularly so for the mining ship, I thought it'd be helpful to review a selection in turn. First of all, I apologise for the awful pun in the title, I just couldn't resist it. It's a bad habit of mine. The Prospector is the first solo ship I reviewed thus far, although it's certainly possible to group up with friends in their own Prospector, all mining together. Hopefully you know the drill by now. I've split this review into 5 sections, starting with a ship tour and deck flow, assessing combat performance, reviewing handling and visibility, looking at the operating and purchasing costs, and finally summarising. I've included timestamps in the video description to help navigate to each part of the review. Part 1. Ship Tour and Deck Layout. The layout of the Prospector is very straightforward. Although this section is called Deck Layout, it's really little more than a single room. That makes life very easy when you're only out in the black to do some mining. At the rear of the ship there's a little door that opens with a thing that pops out. I have no idea what it's for or what it does. Let me know in the comments section. Entry to the Prospector is on the port side forward compartment, consisting of a door and ladder similar to that on the Freelancer. This takes through into the main room, which has got access to components and a bed for safe logout and sleeping. There's a small door with access to ablutions. The door at the front leads through into the cockpit. The bubble cockpit has great visibility all around and offers a single pilot chair for the pilot. Part 2. Combat Performance. The Prospector is armed with 2 size 1 forward-facing weapons, defaulting to Bulldog laser cannons. Defensively, there are 2 small shield generators equipped. Combat-wise, you largely want to avoid it. As a small ship, the Prospector is a little vulnerable and really can't fight very well. I suggest using the reasonable speed and acceleration to get away from a bad situation. Sadly, I'm not sure there's much more I can add to review combat performance. Hopefully nobody will object to my omission of the mining lasers as offensive weapons in this section. Part 3. Handling and Visibility. Thankfully, I can talk more about the virtues of the Prospector here. Starting with manoeuvrability, the Prospector does not disappoint. Firstly, the inclusion of rotating engines mean that vertical takeoff has a lot more power, and it's possible to switch between the modes depending on how much control the pilot wants to have different types of movement. That's particularly helpful for mining. The Prospector maintains a bulky feel to it. For example, although it's easy to point the nose in any direction, when flying at speed the momentum carries through. That's actually a nice touch as it gives this small ship a bigger ship feel. It doesn't feel like a fighter, and for a mining ship that's fairly satisfying. Within atmosphere, the handling is a little more sluggish, but not slow by any means. The stock quantum drive is the Goliath, and sadly lives up to the biblical name with slow speed. That said, I often don't find the need to travel huge distances in the Prospector, so it's not a terrible situation to be in. In terms of visibility, the Prospector breaks the mould of the other MISC lineup, and thankfully for a mining ship offers good visibility. That makes takeoff and landing much easier, as well as scanning for and mining precious ore. Part 4. Operating costs. As a small ship, the costs for fuel for the Prospector are minimal. Moreover, mining can make some reasonable returns. I'd usually come back from a trip with somewhere between 30,000 and 50,000 Alpha UEC, and it's usually a fairly laid-back experience. It's even economical to rent the Prospector. At 40,000 UEC per day rental, you can try it, see if you like it, and within an hour or so mining, it'll be a net neutral cost. The concept for the Prospector seems to be that eventually it'll be possible to detach the cargo pods for transport by another ship, giving more time in the verse mining, although that isn't yet implemented. The other advantage to mining income is its low risk. If there's a server disconnect or you're pirated, your total loss is next to zero, as unlike cargo running, your only investment is in the ship and fuel. Part 5. The verdict. I really like the Prospector as a starter ship for somebody interested in the mining gameplay loop. There is a gameplay loop there, and with a Prospector in the hangar, it's quite feasible to start building up a stockpile of funds. The Prospector comes in at $185 and is purchasable in-game for 2 million Alpha UEC. The payback period for that could be quite long, but if you're somebody who likes to hop on for an hour or so at a time, do some mining, it opens up a nice gameplay loop. Mining also feels more like consistent income. Although possible to be lucky or unlucky with the rocks, it's less reliant on what other players are doing. Is it worth it? I'm mindful to say no, for the simple reason that it's possible to rent a Prospector for a cheap price and use the Prospector to make back that rental cost in no time. There are downsides to doing so, such as not being able to fiddle with the equipment, but it saves a lot on the initial outlay which could be used for a different ship instead. That said, I do really like the Prospector and I find the mining gameplay enjoyable. As my first solo cruise ship review, I'd love to know your thoughts on whether the format still works in the comments. Please also like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to be notified of future content. For anybody who's looking for a group who plays the current patch of Star Citizen regularly, I've included a link to my organisation, the United Space Confederation, in the video description. And finally, thank you for watching. I hope you'll hear from me in the next video.